Hi, my name is Alex Q, an electrical engineer and founder of ATK Solutions. And on this channel, I give practical advice for students, professionals, and job seekers to help you guys avoid mistakes that took me years to learn. If I could teach you or help you avoid just one mistake that took me years to figure out, this channel will be well worth your time. This video has to do with passion. And I actually have to give a special shout out to the user Mito Tusu 4, MITO-TSU4. And he asked a profound and great question that I'll be addressing today in this video. So like I mentioned, he asked a question about passion, and I wanted to answer his question and thought it would be really helpful for me to also put my perspective on this onto YouTube, because this is a question that I had to deal with and had concerns with, along with a lot of people in my family and in my friend group. So I know this is going to be very helpful and useful for the audience and people out there. So let me start off by reading his question. He asked, I'm sure you were passionate about electrical engineering. In my case, I'm doing computer science because I'm passionate about nothing. Because of my lack of clarity, I can't move forward. Do you have any suggestions? And first of all, I just want to thank you for being upfront and vulnerable asking that question. And I actually do have a couple suggestions based on my experience and my life. But to summarize, my point in this video is to tell you guys to, yes, follow your passion and try to find your passion, but don't let that stop you from opening up and looking at different subjects and different career paths. And the reason why I say that is because we all know that person who for years said, I don't know what I want to do. I don't have a passion. They get into college undeclared. They switch majors 3 or 4 times. They drop out of school because they say that they're not passionate about anything. They don't want to do work that is not fulfilling to them. The next thing you know, they're at a dead-end job, hating life. So that's the path I definitely want you to avoid when it comes to thinking about passion. And another part of this question that I want to tell you guys about is how you could find your passion. It's a belief to me that everybody has a passion deep down inside, but it's up to you to go and look for that passion and find that passion out. And I'm just like many people out there where people say, oh, follow your passion, and it just made me roll my eyes because I always thought, like, what is my passion? I don't have a passion. I'm passionate about video games. I'm passionate about sports, but that doesn't correlate. I'm only 5'8". I can't dunk a basketball. I can't catch touchdowns in football, even though that's what I'm passionate about. So where do I go from here? But luckily for me, I had great mentors in my life, and shout out to my parents and my family because they allowed me to find a path for myself, even though I was questioning passion. So my advice to you is to, yes, follow your passion, find your passion, and then go into a field that is correlated with that. But if you don't have a passion, don't let that stop you from exploring fields that could pay you well and that could give you a lot of fulfillment. So that's that. But let me dig deeper down into how to find your passion. So to talk about how to find your passion, I definitely have to give a shout out to Robert Greene from this book, this masterpiece, Mastery by Robert Greene. And in this book, he talks about how if you want to become a master at a certain craft, you definitely have to be in a field that is your passion. He brings up multiple different masters, such as Leonardo da Vinci, scientists like Charles Darwin, and he talks about how they worked and how they were able to be the top tier geniuses in their field, but they were in a field that was their passion. But in the very beginning of the book, he talks about how you could find your passion, and that's what I'm going to summarize today. So what Robert Greene argues is that everybody has a passion, and he talks about how you can find your passion by being introspective and looking into the things you did as a child and the things you're most inclined to. And I thought that was pretty interesting because when I read this book, I also did some self-introspection. And what conclusions I came to were, it gave me flashbacks to when I was a child and what was I naturally inclined to. And I can tell you now that was not hard for me to find out. It took me about a day or so to figure that out, but all I had to do was just look at my past. So for example, he talked about just simply like go into your childhood and what did you do that just made time go by. You were naturally equipped for something that you just naturally remembered yourself being inclined to. And for me, that instantly gave me a flashback to when I was about 7 years old, and I saw my brothers playing video games in the living room, and I was just so intrigued by how that video game is creating an image on the screen for us to play. And I was always curious. And then I got a flashback to when I was in fourth grade, and without having like a tutor and just naturally being drawn to math and science, I did great in the standardized test as at the end of the year, and the whole school had a meeting at the auditorium where they celebrated me and a few other classmates that were that scored at the top of the class, giving a good reputation to my elementary school. Where my mom showed up, I got an award, and that was something that was really imprinted into me. And for me, I thought about, okay, that's pretty interesting. And then I thought about, okay, even it made me think about things that weren't even related to my schooling. For example, or my career. For example, I was always naturally inclined to sports, and I remember every day I would play sports during break, and I would play sports after school. And even though that has nothing to do with my career path and my passion as far as my career path, I thought to myself, like, man, I haven't played basketball in 2 years. Let me go pick up a basketball, and I've been playing every weekend ever since, just giving me more joy into my life. But then when it comes to my passion and how it relates to my career, I remember about the 10th grade, I had a uh, extracurricular class, and that class was architecture. This class was during third period in Mr. Bingham's class. Shout out to Mr. Bingham. And the thing about third period is during lunchtime, we would have lunch, obviously. So after third period, we would have lunch. So I remember being in that class, and I was so into the software. I was so into being creative, where we were designing like our dream house. We call it the solar decathlon, where we had to make a greenhouse, a house that was good for the environment. And I remember I was just so into it that even when the bell rang, all the students would just close their notebooks, run out the door, and they had to pull me off of the desk because I was just so into it. And fast forward to today, even though I'm not in architecture, some of the work I work with software similar to what I did in high school in that elective class. And the funny thing is, I read that book Mastery already after I became an engineer, but it just kind of gave me insight of how I could help people find their passions. And I know what you're thinking, as far as how their passion could relate to their career choice and things of that nature. But I promise you, if you just tap into your inner self, your inner child, tap into your natural instincts, your natural inklings, then you would definitely find something you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be directly correlated to your like a career, but you could kind of find things that you can make relate. Like for me, I've naturally been optimistic. I've naturally been motivated. I was naturally a people person, and even though that's not part of my job description, that is still something that I am able to do at my work and thrive in by being a people person, not being scared of working in a team, things of that nature. Okay, so that's a great way to find your passion, but like I said earlier in the video, don't let your journey in finding your passion and connecting with your passion stop you from exploring career paths, looking into jobs that are fulfilling, even though they're not 100% aligned with your passion. So, with that being said about passion, I now want to talk a little bit about finding a career path for yourself, even though you're not 100% sure what you're passionate about, and you're still on that journey of discovering your passion. So one thing that I think will be very helpful is to obviously just talk to as many people as you can in the professions, in different professions. Whether you're in high school, whether you're in college, whether you dropped out of school, whether you're not in school, just look into what they have out there. Look at what the work they do, the salaries they make, and just ask yourself, okay, like how much money do I want to make as an individual? What kind of work do I want to do as an individual? And then that kind of narrows it down. Oh, I want to work and make over $100,000 a year. I might want to go into something like business, something like engineering, or you're more like somebody who I just want to be artistic, I just want to create content, I don't care about money, then you could go that route. But definitely find the pros and cons and find that balance. Think about the things that you definitely don't want to do. It's like, okay, I definitely don't want to drive a drive a garbage truck, even though they make over 100,000. That's not the lifestyle I want to make. Or you could tell yourself, like, for sure, I don't want to work in the office. If I have to work in the office, I'm gonna go crazy. So I'm gonna look for something where I could be more out in the field. So in this way, you're narrowing your options down, and you give yourself more clarity. And then you go from there. Then you look at the salary they make, the type of work they do, and you narrow it down to a few options, and then you have to ask yourself. I'm gonna give another shout out to a great book. So I want to give another shout out to a great book, one of the OG books that changed my life, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book has a lot of key bangers in there, but the one thing I want to talk about in that book that's very helpful and very profound is the main premise of the book is you have to pick you have to pick what you want to do. The whole point of the book, the main point of the book, Think and Grow Rich, and the reason why it changed my life is because he mentions that to think and grow rich, to achieve the highest levels in life, is that you must have a purpose. You have to have one purpose, one main purpose that guides yourself, like a boat going to its destination or an airplane going to their destination. If you don't have a purpose or a point which you're pointing the airplane, you're just gonna crash. If you don't have a destination for the boat you're driving or a purpose, then you're just gonna crash. You're just gonna drift. And that's the one thing you have to avoid in today's day and age, is drifting. So you just have to pick at the end of the day. But like, if you follow what I said in this video, you definitely want to look into your passion and lean into that, but don't let your passion and your thought that you don't have a passion stop you from having a purpose in life. And for me, that purpose was to be an electrical engineer, to serve others, and to reach my full potential. So that kind of wraps up my take on purpose versus no purpose, right? And to go back to the user Mito, I just want to shout you out and let you know that you're in computer science. That's a great path that you're on, and I can relate to you because as an electrical engineer, I was in that grind too, and during that grind, I kind of lost my purpose. I kind of felt like I was just going through the motions, which is fine and which happens. But I want to tell you that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I believe that computer science is a great path and great choice to have as your major. And my advice to you would be that you already do have a passion. You just need to tap into it. Think about what in your childhood inclined you to pursue computer science to begin with. Think about all the cool possibilities you might have in this field. And I wish you the best of luck. I know you could do it, and I'm rooting for you. And everybody else out there who is in the same boat of not knowing what their passion is, not knowing their direction in life, I want to let you know that you're not alone, and it's okay to be lost. But I want to encourage you to go into your past, go into your childhood, think about all the things you did that you're naturally inclined to, and also look at but don't let that journey stop you from narrowing down the career paths you might see yourself doing. And at the end of the day, you have to choose something. You don't want to be the drifter who is 80 years old and they still have no idea what they want to do, because I guarantee you there's people like that, and the next thing you know, that could be you. So just choose a path, have a purpose, be driven, and definitely follow your passion and lean into your passions. So that's it for my video. My name is Alex Q. I'm an electrical engineer, and I hope that this video helped you a lot. If you think this video gave you value, or if you know anybody that might want this knowledge, please give a like, share this video, hit subscribe. I have more content coming up. In the link, you can look at my website where I give an opportunity for you to meet me on a mentoring session or consultation. And I also have an online store where I sell a bunch of cool products. And I also have a bunch of master classes that you could buy that I break down how to get a good job, how to get internships, how to do good in school. So check out the rest of my check out my link and check out the rest of my content. Until next time, I'll see you then.